All right, we are live.
Thank you. Welcome back to House Government Operations and Military Affairs. We're back with Tucker Anderson on draft request 26-0550, which is our committee emergency management bill. Thank you for making time for us, Tucker. And I think you have a new version for us, which is draft 3.2, and it is posted to our webpage.
Thank you, Tucker Anderson, Legislative Counsel. That is correct. Draft 3.2 is posted, time-stamped 3:10 p.m. today. The updates from the direction the committee gave. The former Section 7 from Draft 3.1, which related to including emergency evacuation plans within individualized education plans, IEPs. That has been taken out. You will notice a new Section 7 in its place. The town forest fire warden language has been added here, and I'll have a note about some of the charter issues that I brought up later, and an apology to the town of Randolph for bringing them up in my testimony before, because they're not a charter municipality. They just broadly advertise their fire warden on Google. So, Section 7.
So that is page
12.
12. Thank you very much. We can all skip to page 12.
So page 12, section 7. This amends 10 VSA section 2603, duties of the commissioner of, I believe, PR. States that the commissioner or designee shall be the state forest fire warden and may act as the town forest fire warden of any municipality or unorganized town or gore as provided in subchapter 4. We will get to very quickly. The commissioner is granted the authority to exercise the duties of town forest fire wardens. Got the 10 section there. Appoint special forest fire wardens and delegate the authority of the state warden to those special wardens. Take command and control of a forest fire in any municipality or unorganized town or gore in the state when it is necessary to do so, or when resources are needed in addition to local resources, and to act as the incident commander over all other fire officials. We're on page 13 now. Also to serve on the Northeastern Forest Fire Protection Commission or designate an appropriate department representative to serve in the commissioner's place. The commissioner has the authority to enter into mutual aid compact agreements as set forth in section 2462 of this title. Finally, the last piece of authority is to issue a ban on kindling fires on lands owned by the Agency of Natural Resources when necessary. Section 8, we're on page 13 still, amends 10 VSA Chapter 83, Subchapter 4. This is the entire subchapter governing forest fires and fire prevention, specifically the town forest fire wardens, the state warden, and the duties to suppress forest fires. You move on to page 14, you'll see the new language that is A of this section. And chief of the fire department, fire district, or private fire department with the jurisdictional responsibility to respond to a municipality or unorganized town or gore is designated as the town forest fire warden and shall have the authority to exercise all the powers and duties of a town forest fire warden. Or any municipality or gore that is covered by 2 or more fire districts or has 2 or more fire departments, municipality or gore shall designate 1 fire chief as the warden and notify the commissioner of the designation. Something that I flagged with some of this language, and it's not an issue that necessarily has to be resolved, but this brings in the private fire departments and the private fire departments may be operating under contracts with the municipalities they serve. So you are adding a duty, a mandatory duty for the chief of that private fire department, which may not be reflected in the contracts with the municipalities at this time. I'm flagging that as a potential issue under Contracts Clause Theory, Article 10 of the US Constitution, but it might not be that big of a deal. It also could likely just be resolved by adding something in here requiring the municipalities to renegotiate their contracts before putting this in place. Okay, subsection B, the new language, the chief of the fire department with the jurisdictional responsibility to respond to a municipality or GOR, we're on page 15, as the fire warden may designate deputy wardens. The town forest fire warden is required to provide a list of all designated deputies to the commissioner. Deputy forest fire wardens shall only have the authority to issue permits to kindle a fire. So none of the other duties that are assigned. Chief. Subsection C, when a municipality or does not have a fire department or is not covered by a fire district, the municipality may contract with a neighboring fire department or fire district to designate the chief of the fire department or district to serve as the warden. Private fire department provides fire suppression control services to a municipality. The chief of the private fire department may serve as the town forest fire warden when approved by the municipality or. Okay. Moving on to page 16. Amendments in subsection E. The amendment that's taking place here requires that the fire wardens shall be employees of the Department of Forest, Parks and Recreation with forest fire suppression control and training. Bottom half of that page 16, amending 2642 to add a reference to the deputy forest fire warden and to repeal language relating to the pay associated. It's like $30 annually for fulfilling the requirements under 2645. On page 17, amending section 2643. First, in subsection A, a municipality in which a forest fire occurs shall pay the cost to suppress that fire if it occurs on land that is not owned by the Agency of Natural Resources, including the cost of personnel and equipment, and the commissioner may, when funds have been appropriated or otherwise available, reimburse a municipality. So you're adding a proviso clause there that this happens when those funds have been appropriated or available. Subsection B, there's an amendment cleaning up some of the references to municipalities and GORs here, and then striking existing language and replacing it with reimbursement by the commissioner is if at a minimum the requirements in subsection C are satisfied. So you added a contingency. The commissioner may establish additional requirements and guidance regarding reimbursement. We're on page 18. In subsection C, most of the existing language in subsection C struck and replaced with the following. For any forest fire on lands owned by ANR to be considered eligible for reimbursement from the state, a municipality or organized GOR shall at a minimum satisfy the following requirements. First, the warden of a municipality or GOR shall request assistance within 1 hour of discovery of the forest fire from the Department of Forest, Parks and Recreation Wildland Fire Team for the suppression of the forest fire. Second, the town warden shall submit a report of the forest fire to the commissioner within 24 hours after extinguishment. Third, the municipality or GOR shall submit detailed documentation of the costs of suppression. And finally, the commissioner reviews and approves the request for reimbursement. Subsection D, new language. For request for reimbursement approved by the commissioner, on land owned by the Agency of Natural Resources, payment of the cost shall be made by the Commissioner of Finance and Management to the municipality or GOR. The funds for the payment are to be taken from the appropriation for forest fire suppression. Okay. In 2644, what's proposed is some conforming amendments to both language relating to forests and references to particular municipal corporations with a general reference. On page 20, within 24 hours of the discovery of the forest fire on lands not owned by A&R, the town forest fire warden shall notify FPR that the fire was discovered. A town forest fire warden shall prepare a report for all forest fires in the jurisdiction that includes at a minimum the following. Existing requirements here, a record of the Warden's Acts, the number of fires and causes of those fires, areas burned over, and the character and amount of damages done in the jurisdiction. In subsection D, the town warden may designate a deputy town forest fire warden when necessary. The town warden shall provide a list of all deputy wardens designated to the commissioner. And this language appears to be a repeat of what was proposed in an earlier section. In subsection E, within 12 hours of granting permission to kindle a fire, pursuant to section 2645, the town forest fire warden or deputy shall issue a permit to kindle for record purposes stating when and where the fire may be kindled, including any conditions deemed appropriate. Section 2645, which relates to open burning and the permits that were just brought up. There is a correction for consistency purposes to the name of the permit introduced in the preceding subsection. And then a person shall not kindle or authorize another person to kindle a fire in the open air for the purpose of burning natural wood unless, well, without first obtaining a permit to kindle fire from the warden or deputy, stating when and where the fire may be kindled, and imposing any conditions deemed necessary by the town warden or deputy. Special wardens designated by the commissioner shall issue permits for category 3 prescribed fires described in subsection 5C below. That reference likely has to be corrected. Okay. In subsection B, during periods of increased fire hazard or when DEC has issued an air quality alert due to forecasted air quality, the commissioner is granted discretionary authority. We're on page 22 now. Notify the town wardens that for a specified period, no permits to kindle fire shall be issued. New language in subdivision 2, notify the town wardens that for a specified period of time, permits for category 2 or 3 fires shall be prohibited or restricted by the commissioner. Subdivision 3, notice to the town wardens that for a specified period of time, category 1 fires shall be prohibited or restricted as set forth by the commissioner. Subsection C, a permit to kindle fire is not required for the following categories of conditions. Existing one, the kindling of a fire in a location where there is snow surrounding the burning site. Subdivision 2, new language replacing the existing standard category 1 fires as defined in subsection D. And the kindling of a fire that complies with all requirements established by rule. When a person is primitive camping on lands owned by the agency. Subsection D, we have some updates to an existing definition and some new definitions for purpose of this section. First, some clarification on what natural wood does not mean. Natural wood does not mean wood, brush, weeds, or grass if they have been altered in any way by surface applications or injections of paints, stains, preservatives, oils, glues, or pesticides. Subdivision 3, category 1 includes campfires that meet the following requirements. We are on page 24. Fires 36 inches in diameter or less that are built in stone arches, outdoor fireplaces, or existing fire rings at state recreational areas or on private property. Fires 36 inches in diameter or less built in a location that is 200 feet or more from any forest land or field containing dry grass or other flammable plant materials contiguous to forest land. Category 2, fires in piles larger than inches in diameter, or fires 36 inches in diameter or less, not built in stone arches, outdoor fireplaces, or existing fire rings at state recreational areas, other public recreational areas, or on private property. So not contained. Category 3 broadcast burns includes the following. Subdivision 5A, fires applied to existing vegetation in a predetermined land area, including but not limited to, get rid of that but not limited to. Fuels management / abatement, firefighter training, agricultural field burning, forest management, wildlife habitat management, or introduced species management. And the end of this definition, all category 3 fires must have a plan that includes location, objectives, and contingency plans for fire. Moving on to page 25. New definition, forest land means woodlands, timberland, brushland, forest, and woodlots. The proposed amendments in section 2646 are largely technical corrections, correcting use of the term proclamation in lieu of publication. 2647 removes language related to lessees, holders of right-of-way, or authorized agents during a particular time of year as applied to a prohibition on building a fire in the forest land of another. Section 2648 corrects the use of the term woodlots to forest land in the section of statute dealing with slash removal in this subchapter. Also adds a new subsection D defining what slash means for purposes of this section. And it means branches, treetops, and other woody debris left on the forest floor after logging. We are almost through. Section 9 repeals an entire subchapter of Chapter 83 in Title 10. This is the subchapter governing the uniform fire prevention ticket. I did not have time to research what that subchapter is, but it is in the FPR report that is the basis for these recommendations. Section 10 amends 20 VSA section 2673 to add a new subsection E. This is in the section relating to the powers and duties during essentially all hazard events, fires, and threats of fires or explosions. The new subsection E states that the chief of a fire district is designated as the town warden and shall have authority and duties related to forest fires pursuant to that subchapter. Period. Section 11, there is some cleanup. First, eliminating a reference to the state forester's subordinates and replacing that reference with the state forest fire warden. This is related to exclusive jurisdiction over the suppression of certain fires. And it also eliminates a reference to the subchapter 7 that is repealed in 10 VSA chapter 83. The last thing that I have to note for you is that there was a request to update what is now section 12 of the bill related to authorization of ongoing expenditures covered a couple different times for funds that are held in reserve related to essentially the public safety communications build out.
Okay, thank you very much. Just for the committee's awareness, this was all taken from testimony on January 15th and 17th from Forest Parks and Rec under the name of Dan Dillner. And we had neglected to keep this on our radar. So that's why this has now appeared in this draft. Rep. Pincinel.
On page 20, just a clerical, I don't know if you picked it up when you were going through it, Tucker, but on page 21, line 12. You have 5C, this is a capital letter, and it probably should be a small letter.
That entire internal cross-reference is gonna have to be corrected.
Okay,
Thank you.
It's incorrect at base.
great.
Any questions that we need to ask of anybody at the table? That we need to ask of anybody on this particular section that Tucker just brought to us? We do have to be to the floor. I heard you say that you're working on a public language piece
Yes.
and we are waiting to hear one very small change to perhaps who would be the chair of the technical grant program working group. So as soon as I learn that, I can let you know. We have you booked for tomorrow afternoon, but a potential for needing you for a few minutes in the morning if we have a new draft.
I will update the draft with those two pieces that you just brought up and also just flagging for the committee that the language that I just walked through hadn't been fully reviewed yet, and
Okay,
I will have to go through it, make the technical corrections that I was noting as I was reading, and then have the draft edited at some point as well.
okay, great. So when you get it to me, I'll read it, and when we're all set, the rest of the committee can have it. So thank you. Appreciate it very much. Hope you get some rest and food.
Me too.
Yeah. So I have a question regarding section 3 that was taken out. Will that be put back? Are we hoping you guys put back in?
Can you tell us the name of it? Because the section numbers changed from draft to draft.
Oh,
So
section 3 with the 25-foot.
Yeah, we discussed that earlier.
Yeah,
Well, I wasn't
it will
here.
not be going back in. Rep. Pincinel wasn't
Oh,
in the
sorry.
room for that. She was at the
Um,
festival.
Apologies. Yes, after discussing with Chair Lalonde, we would have to have done a significant review of that language. Because it's cross jurisdictional. So he did not have the time to do so. So we removed it for the time being to get the vehicle out, the bill out. So
Disappointing.
it's just, we're working on a calendar right now. There's a lot of clock before gavel go bang in May.
Ain't that the truth?
So with that, Curate Job Committee, we are late for the floor. Please take us off.
Tucker.
Reconvene tomorrow morning after the floor.